Hello. We are here to play Writer's Retreat by Sabine Voelkel. And it's written for Trophy Dark. Trophy Dark, I will explain what that is when we do our cats, concept, aim, tone, and subject matter. But for right now, let's introduce our players. I'm Madelancholy, Mads for short, she, they pronouns. I run and play a lot of Trophy, and I really enjoy this system a lot. This particular incursion is just available through Sabine, and I always wanted to do something outside of the core trophy fantasy um, incursions. I like the fact that this is a modern day horror, so that's where my interest lies for this. All right, so again, if our players could introduce themselves by their name, pronouns, experience with trophy, as well as anything that they will find interesting about this particular incursion that we're going to be playing today. I'll start with Rod.
I'm Rod Heehan. Uh, what am I supposed to say? I'm weird in that I don't like Trophy Dark. Uh, well, rather, there's some aspects of Trophy Dark that I had uh, I don't love the idea of being doomed from the start. Um, that said, uh, that's kind of a fun. It is. I do watch horror movies where that does happen, and I do enjoy them. Um, so I and I know that I'm gonna enjoy it tonight as well. Um, and but what drew me to this was the subject, the writer's retreat. I am try to write a horror novel at the moment, which is not a really a genre I tackle, but that really drew me. So looking forward to it.
Awesome. And Ben?
Hi, I am Ben. I use he, him pronouns. I have some experience with Trophy, most of it very recent. I've been playing a few one-shots and currently in a Trophy Gold, also a modern day horror incursion. So I think that brings the total up to like 3 or 4 games of Trophy. Um, Mostly dark with a little bit of gold thrown in. And This particular incursion caught my eye because I mean I like modern horror generally, and I also love the like metafictional like people who make up stories getting stuck in something that is probably going to turn their own stories against them in some way or another. It's just like a very fun theme, across media. Just finished playing Alan Wake 2, so it's just very much in my mind recently. So yeah.
Very cool. And last but not least, Kirk.
I am Kirk. My pronouns are he, him. This will be my first incursion in Trophy, either with Dark or Gold. So please bear with me because I'll be reading that one sheet a lot. Um, what drew me to I've wanted to play Trophy for a while, Mads. I know that there's a game I wanted to do with you that I had to drop unfortunately before it started. Um, so I'm really excited for this one, especially because like not only am I intrigued by the idea of Trophy, but I think this the writer's retreat is an interesting idea. Um, it's fun to play writers. I mean, we're all kind of writing in the game as we go along, I assume. And then I like that. And I recently finished like a horror comedy pilot, so I'm in that creation of horror stuff vein. So I'm just kind of interested to see where this whole thing goes, and also just how it goes trophy wise. Because I'm like, I don't know, I don't know what ruin means. So we'll find all. I'll find all that out. In addition to the joy of the story itself, or into the incursion itself. That's it.
No problem. Yeah, I mean, again, I will teach rules in play, but I tend not to, like try to throw a ton of stuff at you like right in the beginning because I figure it'll all come as needed. All right. So we go through a usual round of cats to explain concept, aim, tone, and subject matter. So this way we set our expectations before we start play, and then just make sure that everybody's on the same page in terms of like what to, how gameplay is going to work, for safety, consent, and also just for like vibes, basically. All right. So, Trophy Dark for the concept. is a role-playing game about a group of doomed treasure hunters entering the haunted spaces of the world. It is also a game of horror, of hubris, in grabbing an undeserved treasure deep in a forest jealous to give up its keepsakes. Those who enter the forest are doomed to become its trophy, one way or another. Even those that leave will not do so unscathed. Aim. This particular incursion, Writer's Retreat, is a variation on a regular trophy incursion. The characters are aspiring authors looking forward to going to a writer's retreat with the reclusive master of horror, Esteban del Rey, author of Shadow in the Rain, Ember Birds, Skeleton Tree, They Walk Beneath, and Shattered. They have heard strange rumors about these retreats in the remote woodlands of Maine, but each of them is going despite the warnings. They all have their own reasons and ambitions. These aspirants are doomed, and they probably won't achieve their goal. Instead, they are very likely to die or be lost by the end of the game, and watching how they go out is part of the fun. Tone. The tone of Trophy Dark is desperate and often tragic. You will likely encounter conflict or tension between writers, where characters are encouraged to backstab or betray their companions in pursuit of their goal. Subject matter. This game will be R-rated. Your characters are risk takers, willing to make dangerous choices. The game will likely be violent, terrifying, and include scenes of bodily horror and loss of self-control. Given that, we do have a safety tab, and I'll explain in a minute. But gameplay itself is highly collaborative and improvisational. Players have a lot of say over the world itself and can introduce elements that no one, not even the GM, was expecting, and play moves between the fiction and the metagame frequently. The game runs best when everyone feels comfortable offering up their ideas. It uses 6-sided dice of 2 colors, light and dark, to determine the outcome of risky actions. All right? And so, given the subject matter, I'm going to look at our safety tab, which we have on our character keeper, so we can keep track of our characters. On our safety tab, are lines and veils, a part of the safety tools that are available to you all. Line is something that will not be crossed, so it will not be part of the game whatsoever, okay? And veils are things that may come up, be present, may be mentioned in a backstory, but won't be described in any detail, and maybe we're just going to fade to black on it. We won't need to roleplay it whatsoever, okay? Other safety tools available to you for this game are the X card. So if at any point there is something that we need to stop play on because it's triggering, unfun in an objectionable way, or just because I don't think, even if it was okay maybe in a previous scene, but not okay at this particular scene for some reason, just go ahead and make it the X in the video, say X card out loud, or put X in the chat, stop play, find out what needs to be X carded, and then move on. We will never ask you why, okay? And then the last safety tool that we have available to us is the open door policy. So for whatever reason, like if you have to step out of the scene, a few moments, you got to, go get your dinner at the door, that's fine, just step away and then just let us know when you're coming back. But if this is a game that after playing it for a little bit, you decide, it's not really for me, please feel free. Take the open door and then just, say, not for me, and, just step away. All right? The game is more about the people playing rather than the game itself. All right? So keep yourself safe, know your limits, and then, we'll go on. This is not a problem. All righty? So, given that, we do have, again, the character keeper has our characters. And it looks like everybody's pretty much done with their character creation. So let's see. Let's start from the left. And I'll have you introduce your characters by your character name, the character pronouns, your occupation, your background, and your drive. Why are you coming to this writer's retreat? What's driving you, right? And then your rituals, which is actually the genre that you're writing in, okay? So just go ahead and tell us what genre you've picked, all right, for your particular writer. So Kirk, please lead us off and introduce us to Adriana.
Yes, I will be playing Adriana Childermass. Her pronouns are she, her. She is a librarian and her background is one of a collector. The drive I've chosen for Adriana is to show Marcy, my eternal rival. Um, and her ritual or the genre that she specializes in is spooky children's books.
Nice. All right. And Ben, please introduce us to Corey.
Yep, I'll be playing Corey Unterholzer, who uses they, she pronouns. They are a police officer, but have a background as a criminal. And their drive is to get these things out of their head. Um, I guess there's no better place to do that than the remote woods of Maine. And they write action horror.
See how that comes in handy. And last but not least, Rod.
Hi, yeah, I'm playing Cassie Nickerson, she, her, but her pen name is Cassandra Nix, because that'll sell more books, I think. I I'm a construction worker, which is kind of an odd choice. But I am also Esteban Del Rey's #1 fan. That's what I'm here to prove. I write fantasy horror, um, and yeah, that's me.
Awesome. So before we get started with this particular incursion, I'd like to take a moment to have you each contemplate the day that you are heading up to the retreat itself, what you look like, how you get ready, and what is your favorite horror from one of Del Rey's stories. You can take the titles that I listed in the rings as like kind of inspiration for what you remember from each of these horror books, improvising, of course. And like what are you taking up in your journals about this retreat? How do you get that started? Okay, so whomever wants to start. Getting ready to go to a retreat.
I don't mind going first, even though I've never done this before, so that's okay. That's okay. Low bar for everyone else. So Adriana is, I guess she's just wearing the outfit that I have in the image, like this kind of yellow-ish, fleecy, puffy coat that's probably a little like, it's very comfy for her, and it's probably good for whatever the weather might be like. And I'm sorry, what was the book that she's in, like the book that Del Rey, what's the word, resonated with her
Yeah.
about their favorite horror from, okay, I see it up there in the chat. As the character about their favorite horror, I think Ember Birds is the one, just because I think she's an amateur bird watcher as well, so the use of birds in horror is very interesting in a way that's also like, I disagree with it because I think birds are pretty cool. Like, it's like the birds, like, I think that movie's a little like bullshit, but I like birds, so it's kind of cool seeing birds do stuff. But like, they never do that. So she just kind of, but also appreciates bringing the horror from something that's very mundane and often ignored by the world. Like, people don't care about birds or notice them, um, but they're everywhere. And so that really resonated with her. And then with her journal, I think it's mostly just very brief, like it's not deeply detailed, it's just sort of more sensory notices, like, oh, I hear like a tire spinning, so like there's a car that's getting caught on like a gravel road somewhere in the distance, and like just like writes that, or like the sunlight is now at the golden hour, just like little sensory things that she could possibly use in her books later.
Corey getting ready for this retreat is efficient. Corey keeps a go bag prepped with like a couple changes of clothes and whatever necessities they might need pretty much anytime. And they're not taking their go bag on this retreat. That's for emergencies, but it's sort of emblematic of who they are, sort of always ready to take off or change locations if they must. Um, they to prepare for this retreat, are wearing a bunch of layers. I think probably a tank top and then a sweater and then a leather jacket on top of that, and a cap, baseball cap. Um, Definitely not in uniform for this. Uh, their favorite horror is from They Walk Beneath. Um, and it's the reason that they're going on this retreat because something in They Walk Beneath rang true about Corey's experience with these things that they can't get out of their head. Um, Something sort of, they recognize something reading this book. And it seems like maybe, you know, Del Rey might know something about what's going on. Maybe has a solution. You know, not that the protagonist of that book triumphs or anything, but maybe, maybe. And I think their journal uh, has something to this end, but it's not written as a list or in a straightforwardly legible format. It's sort of a mind map with a few main ideas or concepts or thoughts or feelings with a large bubble around them, interlocking in all sorts of ways with little phrases or thoughts or things connected. And this journal, um, before departure, just has Esteban Del Rey at the center.
So, yeah, I think I'm just wearing, dark, comfortable clothing, knit cap. Um, my car is packed with Del Rey's books. Because I've read all of them at least 3 times. I've seen all the movies. I'm bringing books to maybe get autographed. Um, I think I love all Del Rey's books, but if I had to pick a favorite, I think I would pick Skeleton Tree. Um, and I actually am a hiker, so I'm familiar with woods. I work in the city, and like my job, I hate it. I I mean, I can tolerate it. I need to bring money home to my family, but yeah, I mean, I feel just so much more in touch with life when I'm in the woods, when I'm hiking and uh, just with nature. Uh, my journals, I have a whole bunch, and their notes. I'm a plotter, not a pantser. As far as writing goes, so I have outlines, everything organized, scene structure, all that. Hoping to get as much knowledge as I can over this retreat.
Very, very cool. All right. So, I think as you ride up, however you do so, whether you take time to go into the town that's near Esteban Del Rey's place, not near is relative, not near whatsoever, but the locals will tell you you are not allowed to take any vehicles up. So you just need to take whatever you need to take for your uh, workshop, for your retreat, and then you leave your car there in town because you have to walk up his immense driveway, which just looks like this beaten path. They say it's about a mile or so up the road a piece. So, through the woods. Yep. Yep. So, what do you take with you on this little hike?
So I'm crushed that I can't bring all my books, all these books. But I definitely have like like a big hiker's backpack. I mean, I don't know if we're gonna be in the woods that much. I assume Del Rey's gonna have us in his mansion, hopefully. And but I do bring a copy of the Skeleton Tree with me. Um, and of course my journals.
I bring a small duffel bag uh, with a couple changes of clothes, my journals, gotta have something to write with and write on, draw from, um, and my gun.
Whoa. Um, Adriana has a what do you call it? Like a carry-on, like a luggage carry-on. It's pretty small. Uh, also like a fabric covered one. And she's like, "Well, dang it, I got to carry this by like she can't drag it by the wheels. It's not going to roll. So she's holding it. It's very that's going to suck pretty quickly. And it's just got kind of like clothes. I think she kind of went to like the LL Bean outlet and got like new duck boots and stuff, to feel a bit like I think I would say she's probably from New England, but maybe not this part of not this rural Maine. And so a lot of her attire is new LL Bean stuff, and then she has like one nice librarian outfit. Um, and otherwise, it's just like toiletries in her journal. Like it's just she didn't bring anything special.
All right. And with that, you will make your way up this beaten path of gravel, tamped down dirt, and grasses, and leading up and through the forest. As you enter Ring 1, Shadows in the Rain. A caw, a croak, a bark of sorts, a chirping bark. A jackdaw tells your group to turn back as a warning. The trees look like bare bones above you, even if they have leaves. It is a chill autumn day when you get to the town nearby, and you are entering into the chill of the afternoon as you make your way up this pathway through the forest. What do you notice about what is around you? About your companions or the road ahead?
Thought there might be a shuttle. Uh, wasn't really expecting to be huffing it as soon as we got here, but it's quaint, I guess.
I could get a lot of writing done here.
Yeah.
No kids bothering you, no job calling you.
I think, as you say that, I noticed the silence. I think it's unnaturally quiet as we start to walk up this path.
And I think Adriana would have noticed that jackdaw calling. Actually, would like to. Could I add binoculars? Like she brought bird watching binoculars with her,
Yeah, sure.
and so she actually stops and she's like, "You can go on, like, because it's going to take a second for her to get them out of her bag and then like her luggage and then like get them inside." And she's trying to see it, just because like that's unusual. They shouldn't be here at this time of year. It's just either let's say someone who stayed behind. They would have probably migrated by this time of year. It's weird that there's one still here.
You know a lot about birds?
No, not a lot, but in a way that sounds like actually, yes, I do. I know quite a bit about birds.
All
Or
right.
maybe this one's lagging behind like you. And I just laugh. I'm just kidding, teasing you.
No, she laughs back. It is not real laughter though. That was good. She's like, that was good. That was good. She's gonna remember it and put it in a book.
um, if it looks like you're having trouble with the luggage, I'll offer to help carry it.
Yeah, yeah, actually, yeah, that would be really, really nice of you.
Sure.
Do you try to train your binoculars now that you've gotten them out of your case? Do you try to train them on the jackdaw that you heard?
Yeah.
Okay. This is not risky per se. This is more of a observational thing. So, let's see. Okay. Actually, you know what? It is risky because you're going to be risking your mind in this case. Let's make it a little bit fun for you. So our first risk roll of the game, how this works is we start with what do we think will go wrong before trying something risky. And we would, like myself and the other players would figure out, like, what could possibly go wrong looking through your binoculars. You could see something that looks very odd, or
Something you weren't supposed to see.
something you weren't supposed to see. Yeah, I'd say that. Yeah. All right. Now we gather our dice, okay? So, occupation and background in trophy are attached to skills. And these skills can be applied to get that first light die for your dice pool. So take the first light die if it is a task, something you are skilled at because of your occupation or your background. Now, you mentioned that you were an amateur bird watcher, which is out of the setting of your occupation or background, but I'm willing to take that unless you want to parlay one of your skills as also being applicable here.
Well, I think it says noticing things out of, and I'm assuming it out of the ordinary. I don't know if there's like a rest to that sentence that just
Yeah, I'm
got
not
cut
sure
off.
either.
So, I mean, she's definitely trying to notice a thing out of, like, I, Kirk, am a bit of a bird watcher, so I know I can bring some real life experience to this, and I think it's, she's trying to, they're hard. It's not always easy to find. You hear something, you got to find it.
Yeah.
It does require a lot of noticing.
Okay. Noticing things out of order. Okay,
Out
great.
of order. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Very cool. So you get
That
that
makes a
first
big
light.
difference for that
Yes.
sentence, and that's very helpful.
Absolutely. Okay. So when you go to the trophy dice roller, it's like we're
Yeah.
starting to build out the rolls.
Uh-huh.
All right. So you take the first, you go under risk, and then you
Risk.
take the first light die.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And then you take the dark die, like one dark die, because you're risking your mind. You could be seeing something that you shouldn't be seeing. Okay. And if you do perform your ritual / like utilize your genre, your horror genre in any way, then you would include this die because you automatically get the dark die for activating a ritual. All right, because it's kind of like dangerous. There's like something inherently risky about it. And to increase your odds of success, you can take a second light die by accepting what's known as a devil's bargain. And how you preface the devil's bargain is always with no matter what. So regardless of how you roll, whether it's a failure or a success, this thing will happen. And we, myself and the other players, will offer up a devil's bargain to you. And you can accept one of them. I allow you can accept all of them or some of them. But you only still get the one second light die. Or none of them, in which case you don't get that second light die to increase your odds of success. Okay, so what do we want to offer as a devil's bargain from us to Adriana? My devil's bargain to you is no matter what, I think you're going to see signs that Marcy is here. And I'm gonna
Really good one.
if you
That's
take
really
that I'm gonna want to hear more about like this why you have a rivalry with Marcy. But like let's hear some of the other ones if anybody else has a devil's bargain they want to offer up to you.
I don't think I have anything as good as that. That's very fun. But I think no matter what, no matter no matter what, you are distracted enough from the path that you find yourself wandering somewhere.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that the Marcy thing is perfect, I think. I mean, if I want to make it uh a little worse, I think she has binoculars and she sees you seeing her.
Holy. So again, you can accept one of those, all of those, or Um, none.
Well, I definitely have to accept that Marcy is here. I think that's so uh, good. Um, and yeah, I'll say that she sees, she's also, oh, she's got it's just that sucks. She has binoculars and she's already spotted me, I guess, and I would assume, let's say, the rest of the trio
Sure.
here. So yeah, I'll take both of those,
Yeah.
no matter what. So then I add one more light die.
Yes. So basically, you're rolling under risk. 2 light die, 1 dark.
Okay. And then do I just hit roll?
Hit roll. Yep.
Okay. I don't know what this means.
Okay. So 5 light means that you can add another dark die to re-roll and see if you can get a better result. The way the results work is 6 is a complete success, no complications or anything like that, unless the devil's bargain is really weird. 4 to 5 is success with a complication. 1 to 3 is failure of varying degrees, or 1 to 3 could be a success, but I make it really bad for you later. Just so you know. So you could conceivably add a dark die to re-roll. So it'd be 2 light, 2 dark to see if you can get a 6.
Okay, and we're trying to get a 6 essentially, just on one of the dice.
Yes.
That's what this is. Okay, cool.
Yeah. You don't have to, but I mean, like, it's giving you the choice if you want to. Again, 5 is a success with a complication.
Yeah, I think I'm okay with doing that. Oh, sorry, was someone going to say something?
I was just gonna say for my own memory, if the highest is dark on a risk roll, is it, or is it just if it's on like a ruin roll or something like that?
Okay, so you are correct. There's like a certain circumstance where if you're on a risk roll and dark is the highest, and in the case of ties, dark is always considered high. Then if the dark die is higher than your current ruin, your ruin goes up. And what that means is that you would narrate like, how are you falling to the darkness and shadows in this forest? So, but that did not happen. Like, you rolled a high 5 light, and if you don't want to go any further, then you would just narrate like what you see, having succeeded, like doing this, but also like seeing Marcy looking back at you through the binoculars. So.
Yeah, I'll keep the roll. I think this is a good enough roll.
Cool.
Do you decide the complication?
I will decide the complication, but I'd like to hear like you narrating like looking through the binoculars for this jackdaw, but then seeing Marcy.
Yeah, I think she does find the jackdaw. There's the success, and that's great because that's always like, hey, here's a bird I've seen, so I can add that. Like she even collects bird lists. And even just for fun, let's say it has a little band on its legs, which means that it's one that's been tagged. So that's interesting. And she kind of remembers, okay, it's these, this is a blue, white, silver, orange. Let's remember that just for later to be like, now I can track that on the bird website to see where this bird probably lives around here and stuff. But that's always very exciting. And then she kind of like, looks like, wait, what the hell? And then like when she sees it, she's like, done. And then she sees Marcy and she's like, God damn, like literally the other two will hear be like, God damn it. And then like kind of smile and then wave at her like a really bad fake smile and just waving. And she's just like, uh-huh. Oh, she's like, oh, I thought 3. And she puts it away, thanking Kassandra for holding her luggage for her. Like, oh, I thought only 3 of us were coming to this retreat. I guess he took a 4th. I guess he took a fucking 4th.
She's not close by, basically. You could only see her through your binoculars, but I mean, she could be headed this way. You don't know. What is the rivalry between you two anyway? What's going on with Marcy?
She's another author of children's horror stories, and she makes absolute bullshit. Like, I'm gonna say like the Snot Goblins, which is a book that does exist. So I'm not dissing that real book, but like the shitty, like they're so stupid. And she's like, this is stupid, and they're very popular, and so she just makes that dumb bullshit, and kids love it, but it's not scary and it's not good, and she doesn't even illustrate it. It's someone else, but she gets a lot of the fame for it.
That must really hurt That must really bother you a lot.
And she's like, it doesn't, but it clearly does. It really, really does.
Do you tell your companions about Marcy?
I don't think she would have said what I just said, but she must have let enough of it out. Like, oh, well, she writes the Snot Goblin series. If I know some children like it. I've heard, and I think it's safe to say you've probably heard of it. If unless you don't want to, but it's like it's enough of in the pop culture zeitgeist that like it's pretty well known as far as kids' books go.
Yeah, my daughter loves one of my daughters loves Slack
How old is she?
Novels. It's a good question. She's 6.
Oh, okay. And she's like, yeah, that's at that age, they won't really know any better. So that makes sense.
I think as you
Uh,
take the binoculars away, or like you start to lower them down after you see Marcy and grit your teeth, I think you're going to see the binoculars refocus. And what you end up seeing is in the distance, feathers that look like writing quills falling to the ground like snow on a field of slaughtered birds.
Wow.
Many slaughtered birds. And we're going to have our first ruin roll of the game. So, you would just go to ruin on the dice roller and you would just hit roll. And then we would see if you're disturbed by this sight.
I don't know.
No. If
Okay.
you're if the dark die for the ruin roll is higher than your current ruin, then your ruin goes up because it's
Wow. So I
essentially
got
causing
lucky.
stress. Right, it's essentially causing stress. I don't count it if it's the exact same. So you keep it together. Tell me how. Even after seeing such a disturbing sight, for you being the bird watcher and all. I mean, like, you saw this field of slaughtered birds. How are you keeping it together?
This is nature. It's red, and tooth and claw, and she quotes whatever that is accurately. And I mean, it sucks that birds die, but if a fox gets them, it doesn't suck for the fox. Uh, it happens, or it could have been and like she might even if this is said out loud, it's like, or it was a hawk that went after like a pigeon or something like that. That'll happen, or maybe it was someone's chicken. It never stood a chance out in these woods.
I hope we're more predator than prey here.
You say that, Corey, and I think depending on where you're looking, whether you're looking behind or in front, I think you spot through the trees someone kind of like trying to stealth you three. It's not Marcy. It is someone that you recognize from a book cover. It is one of Del Rey's former successful students. Who is it? I mean, do you know her?
Think I wouldn't recognize her on first glance. I just think it was a stranger who maybe I saw somewhere once. I don't think I'd be able to place her. Um, but I think like if they're if she's not being especially sneaky, when I get another sort of eye on her, there's something like distinctive about um, her haircut, like a maybe like a severe bob or something like that, that like I recognize from the you said she'd have appeared on like a catalog or a book cover or
Yes.
something like that. Yes.
Yes.
Um, yeah, and how far away do you think she is?
Maybe about like 50 yards away. I mean, you can see her through the
Yeah.
trees. She's looking as if she's like looking at you three, either following you or she's kind of like leading you ahead depending on which way you're turned.
Yeah, I think I'd probably be looking behind us as we've paused for the bird watching.
Hmm.
Um, and I'll I'll quietly call it to the other two's attention. Like, do you do you see her? Is she familiar to you? Isn't that just like I'm gonna say Eleanor or something? Oh, why is she following us like that?
And I'll just
Can I
yell
grab
on
those
top of my
binoculars?
lungs. Yeah,
Nice.
Eleanor. Yeah, I think that's Eleanor Weiss. That's one of
Twice.
Delray's
Yeah, that's what
students.
it
Yeah.
was.
Is she? Are you actually hailing her, Cassandra?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm waving. I'm yelling. Hey,
Interesting.
I
Okay.
love your books too.
Okay. All right. So, are you approaching, or you're just like hailing her?
50 yards is a bit far. Um, I mean, I guess I'm waiting for a reaction from her first.
Right. I think her reaction to your like hearty hail is shaking her head. She's looking worried. She's like kind of like saying, like with her hands, no, no, no. And her look is like a gritted jaw, but it's not open, like as if she can't say anything.
I I think maybe we're going the wrong way. She's saying that's the wrong way. Uh,
That's definitely up the hill to the house, right?
Yeah, we couldn't have missed
that's,
it if we were walking. We wouldn't have passed it. I mean, it's a driveway.
you think she was sent to drive us up? Maybe.
Would have been a little easier.
Yeah.
She doesn't look like she has any conveyance with her, like she's on foot just like you are.
Oh, she's clearly wants to tell us something.
She's making her way to you as you
Yeah,
wave her on.
wave her
Yeah.
towards us. Yeah.
I'll start walking towards her as well.
Okay. So, it works a little bit differently when with this particular incursion than it does in regular trophy. So, I'm going to say this is a risk roll.
Uh-oh.
What do we think will go wrong as Cassandra makes her approach to Eleanor? She's not
I
looking
don't know if
so
there's
good.
already I don't know if there's already a plan for Eleanor, but what could go wrong is that Eleanor is some sort of uh, non-human creature or vengeful spirit or something other than she appears and may actively cause harm to Cassandra.
That could definitely go wrong, sure. All right, let's start building a die roll. Okay. So, take a light die. This is something you're skilled at because of your occupation or background. I mean, you're just heading to her, I get it, but um, if you are going to do any kind of parlance with her, I mean, like anything that you want to apply to this for skill.
Um, I mean, I'm used to hiking, so I'm not gonna like turn on a rock or anything like that. Sprain
Okay.
an ankle as a hiker.
Okay. I mean, applying it to the walking to her, so
Right,
as far as you know, there's no physical danger.
right,
But I'm gonna say that there will be some physical danger. So
right.
excuse me, dark die for the risk roll. Okay, so that's one light, one dark so far, and then you can take a light die for accepting a devil's bargain from one of the other players or me. All right, so remember,
Is
devil's bargain is always prefaced with no matter what because it
Yeah.
doesn't matter what what Cassandra will roll. It just will happen anyway.
I mean, is it bad to be like no matter what? Because I know you just said that you're an experienced hiker, but be like no matter what, she does like roll her ankle. And that could just be an option, and you can refute. That's just something that just came to my mind.
Yeah. I mean, that's an option. I mean, like it would be up to Rod whether
Mm-hmm.
wants to take it for Kassandra or not. All right, Devil's Bargain. I think no matter what, I think you're going to find out that you are not Del Rey's #1 fan.
All right. Ben, did you want to add anything, or do you want to step
Not
out
sure
of
I
this?
have one. Yeah. No, I don't think I have one for this situation.
All right, so
No.
it's either finding out you're not Del Rey's #1 fan or you're going to roll your ankle, no matter what.
Or don't
Yeah,
take it.
well, I'm gonna, I'll pick the worst one that I'm not his #1 fan, but that's why I'm here to show show that that's true.
Okay,
Um, yeah, I'll take that.
okay. So for the risk roll, it's like 2 light, 1 dark, please.
All right, let's see if I do this right.
Risk roll.
Dark. Okay. Uh-oh. What's that antlers thing?
It's slow for me, unfortunately. Oh, okay, you're good. So it just means 6. Yeah, so
Oh,
you
that's
rolled a
good.
6, and it's a light
Okay.
6, so nothing bad, or see, no matter what will happen to you. But I mean,
All right.
like, you succeed. You get to Eleanor, and you're able to see and talk to her. Okay, no problem. All right, but well, first of all, tell me like what you say. As you're like hailing her and going towards her.
Um, I start saying something informal, then I stop myself. I'm here to show I'm professional. Uh, I say, Miss Weiss, I'm so happy to see you. I didn't realize. Are you going to be teaching at this retreat, or?
She's going to grab you and try to pull you away. Like
Uh, all
like
right.
she's not saying anything. Like it's almost like her lips are locked, but she's like not saying anything, and she's like like she's not saying no, but I mean like she's
All
just
right.
like shaking her head really desperately, and she's trying to drag you. She's trying to hold on to
Yeah,
you and say
I
no,
go
no,
with
no.
her. What's wrong? Are you okay?
She's trying to lead you down the path away from the
Yeah.
retreat and the others.
I mean, I'll throw a look over my shoulder, just to see if they're watching, but I will go with her.
And I think you say Skeleton Tree is your favorite book, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she's going to pull you down and away from the others and say, like, insist without speaking that you shouldn't go. But you will see her, like, open up her shirt,
All right.
which, when you looked at her features, I mean, her severe bob was very clean, very neat, and her eyes, like she looked like she was very well made up and everything like that. But when you look down where she opens up her shirt, you realize that she is matted down with like dirt caked underneath her fingernails. Like she's got like dirt in like some of the folds of her pantsuit and everything. And when she reveals her chest, you see that the cover for Skeleton Tree has been etched all into her body, into her skin, including the title. Please take a ruin roll.
Oh, here. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So you rolled a dark 5. So please tell me, after seeing this, how you fall more prey to the forest, to the darkness, as your ruin goes up by 1.
So that I just checked one of the boxes, right, for the ruin,
Yes, yes.
and the number 2 stays as it is, right?
No, the
Or do I?
number 2 goes up. Starting ruin remains 2, but
Got it.
the
Okay.
big number goes up to 3. Yep.
All right. Uh,
And And I just want to point out this character keeper is so smart because if you notice, everybody else's gray is light, yours has darkened somewhat. Ben Bond is
Oh,
a
interesting.
genius.
Yeah,
Yeah.
gotcha. No.
Wait till you get to
Uh,
6.
um,
Anyway, tell me how you tell me how you fall prey to the darkness in your mind seeing this on her chest.
I I think I just like without even like thinking, I reach out and touch it, and it's not flush with her skin. It's like raised,
It's raised.
like embossed, and like there's dirt, and like I could feel it go underneath my fingernails. Like I'm gonna find out later, I just can't get it out of my fingernails, and it's like I'm like very conscious of it. Like it's like really gross, and I kind of like retreat back. What's wrong? What is this?
Take the
Why are you
condition
showing me?
take the condition dirt root fingers.
Oh, I love that.
Conditions are not mechanical. They add flavor to your role play from here on out. All right. So, as you get complications, as you get more ruin, it's like you may get some conditions that will kind of inform your how you interpret narration from here on out. Okay. But yeah. And she will yeah, she'll try to drag you away. And yeah.
That's when I stand my ground and I say, you're starting to freak me out. What, what, what are you doing? Why are you showing me this?
I mean, she just keeps
Things
shaking her head. No, 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 don't go. But she can't.
seeing
Go ahead.
that Cassandra has not come back, I'm starting to get concerned. Um,
I mean, you
and
can
so
still
I'm
see
probably
all
gonna go
this.
after.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
she's
You can.
just okay. They're not that far off. They're just like a
No.
couple hundred feet.
Yeah,
All I
yeah, yeah.
see is like,
Because basically, because
yeah,
Eleanor has been advancing forward, and then
yeah,
Cassie's
yeah,
been going to
yeah.
meet her. So, yeah, she's closer than she was before.
Yeah. Something feels very wrong about all this. I'm gonna approach and maybe try and extricate Cassie from the situation.
I mean, you can
We got
see that.
places to be.
Yeah, you can see that. Eleanor has got a grip on Cassie, like both arms, like both hands on either arm, and then just trying to pull her away. So, yeah, I mean, you want to deal with Eleanor physically.
I mean, I guess she's not responding to anything else. I think first I'll try and say, just like reason with her. We've got to get up to the house. We're here for a reason. We all came all this way because we have something to do. Like, I don't know what is wrong with you. Maybe you should get help. Maybe come with us.
She's not letting go of Cassie, but you do see her open her mouth finally, and she has no tongue.
Okay,
How do you
okay,
feel
okay.
about how do you feel about that, Corey?
I feel like um probably I should call in backup. I feel like I'm on duty all of a sudden.
Do you feel like this is weird, or this is just kind of hearkening you back to something that you've seen on duty?
Both. I think this is suddenly I'm not here just for a writer's retreat, but also for an active investigation.
All right. Well, roll a ruin roll then.
Yeah. Okay.
Oof. 5 dark. Okay. So you're please
Yep,
tell
five dark.
me as you actually, you know what? Like let's fold it into the narrative for what could go wrong here. All right. So, risk roll to try to get Cassie away from Eleanor, who looks crazed now. I mean, like you can see the deep set eyes, like her hands are digging into Cassie's arms like claws,
Yeah.
and you can see the exposed chest with the skeleton tree etched on it and stuff.
Yeah.
So, what do we think will go wrong? I mean, the easiest is that, like, Eleanor's going to attack you too. So, any other
We come
ideas?
up with the other things that
You can. You can. I mean, like, this is just the what could go wrong right now. This isn't the devil's bargains yet.
Yeah, I think the attacking is that's what I would probably say.
Okay. All right. Let's gather some dice. Light die, if this is something you are skilled at because of your occupation or your background.
Yeah, fighting.
Cool. Dark die, risks to body, mine too a little bit, obviously for your ruin roll. And then now you can take a second light die if you accept a devil's bargain. What do we think will happen no matter what?
How about no matter what, her roots get in you, and that's what's the word? Not literal, figurative, but there's something that's gonna get in you. Yeah.
I think no matter what, as you're fighting or you're trying to separate the two, I think you're going to flash back to one of those things in your head. And you're going to see that embodied in Eleanor. No matter what.
I think maybe I'm trying to separate us. You're actually gonna hurt Eleanor. Um, yeah, badly.
You can take some, all, one, or none of those devil's bargains.
Might just take all of them. I think they're good. I think they all open good avenues forward.
All right, so the roots get in. That's one. Embodying those things.
Hmm. I
And
think they
then,
can be connected. We'll see how I roll, but I think I have a sense of
well,
how this could.
I mean, like, no matter what's happened, no matter
Yeah,
what, but I'd like to
of
hear how
course.
you interpret it, of course. All right,
Yeah,
so 2 light, 1 dark, please, for your risk roll.
the light
Cool.
six.
Light 6. So you do succeed in getting Eleanor and Cassie separated and away, but tell me how this ruins you. Like it's twisted into
Yeah.
your ruin.
So I think when she opened her mouth and I saw her tongue cut out and her exposed, etched chest, I was transported to what I think is a memory, could be a dream, this like sort of feverish kind of scene that is one of these things that have been in my head for a long time. Her cut out tongue, I feel like I see it. I see it nailed to a wall of tongues of I can't count how many, uh, maybe hundreds, um, in this like strange, shadowy apartment. And I'm sitting there on the floor trying to figure out how and why they got there, and nothing makes sense. And it's just this memory, this scene that I cannot get out of my head. And when she opens her mouth and I see she does not have a tongue, and I see this scene, I like go into fight or flight mode. I go into panic mode. And instead of separating them, I throw the hardest punch I can possibly throw at her open mouth. Um, and uh, there is a crunch. Um, and I think, yeah, definitely did a little more than just separate, perhaps, at the cost of my own ruin.
Yeah. The punch connects. You all hear the crack. The crack resounds like this echo that just goes through the forest in the silence. You don't even hear any birds. And she goes down And she goes down bonelessly. I mean, literally bonelessly, as if she's not there, but she's there like a puppet. And she's face down on the ground now in a twisted position.
And I'm just looking at her and looking at you and looking at her. Like, what the hell?
She, uh, uh, she was dangerous. She's. We got to get up to the house. There's something very wrong here. She was gonna hurt you. I could tell.
And actually, you do see amongst her weird folds of clothing, there is a small cleaver there, a very small, sharp cleaver.
Uh,
I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna.
take that with you just in case.
Are you gonna take it? I'm
I'm
gonna.
I'm I've got what I need.
I'm gonna pick it. I'm gonna throw it as far as I can into the woods, and then I'm gonna check on her. Is she alive?
Really think you should have held on to that.
Again, boneless.
I'm gonna pick her up. She needs help.
No, I'm
We
telling you, it's
can't
not.
just.
This is not right.
Well, we can't just leave her here. I don't know what's wrong with her, but we leave her here, she's gonna get killed by some bear or who knows what.
I don't think she's alive. I don't think she's alive to begin with.
What the hell are you talking about? Of course she's alive.
Uh,
Do you actually pick her? Do you
okay.
actually try to pick up her body?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So, Cassie, as you try to pick up her body, you notice it's again boneless. It's as if it's just skin and bones.
I drop it. What the? How hard did you hit her?
I did not fucking punch the bones out of her body, okay? I I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
Adriana, are you sunk in your vision of Marcy, or like did you see or hear any of this altercation?
I think once that punch was thrown,
Hmm.
Adriana was like, "Oh, I'm getting the hell out of here." Like not meaning she's going towards the house. She's just like, "I don't want to be involved with these people. There is weird violence and weirdness." And then when hearing whatever this commotion is behind her, like them reacting, she'll just kind of keep glancing over, and she's kind of like walking as fast as she can away from it.
As you walk away, it starts to rain. These are wet, cold droplets. Remote woodlands of Maine. It's not exactly, like warm weather rain at all. And these droplets like just plop heavily on your bodies. And you do see a little bit further ahead, you see a sign showing the way. And there is an old path from one of these uh, placards or wooden arrows that show you the way. Some former students have scratched their names on this big pole, and the names of a book they wanted to write, or actually wrote, into some of the trees around this place. You see Eleanor Weiss's name in it, and some of the books that she had written. Maybe some titles that she scrolled in there that she didn't get a chance to write. Who knows? Do you want to add your names to this stand of trees, almost as a good luck omen, perhaps for success? Do you add your name to the trees and the title of a book you want to write, or you're in the midst of writing?
Um, I think she actually might not. Is that okay?
Yeah, I
Oh,
mean,
like I think she's looking at them, and any name of a book she doesn't know or recognize. Like she's like, okay, that book was not written by Eleanor Weiss. She might just be like, oh, I like that name. And she'll just remember it. Like she kind of tries to remember one or two that's like, oh, these are names of books that should exist but don't. Because maybe she'll write that book instead, is her reason.
What's a title that you start to feel like, oh, I know that's not out there yet, but I'm gonna make it happen.
I would let's see the details in The Devil.
Nice. Corey, Cassandra, as you walk hurriedly away from the the shrunken skin of Eleanor, but you see this again stand of trees that have all these names of former students, as well as their books or books that they haven't quite written yet. Is there anything you'd like to add to the trees as a good luck charm, as an omen for success?
I don't think I like the idea of carving a tree, so I'm not gonna put anything on there.
But is there any title that you see that you feel like, oh, that's not written yet, but I think I will?
Oh, I don't think I would ever take another title, but one that catches my eye is Servant of the Underworld.
Is it something that you're writing now, or is it something that just gives you a glimmer of an idea?
It gives me an idea of a character. Yeah.
Nice. And Corey?
I think seeing this sort of almost I don't know, it feels wrong not to add something to it to me. Uh, so I will take out like a Swiss Army knife or something
Mm-hmm.
and carve in my name and the title of the book I'm currently working on, which is uh, The Last Dance of Beverly Thomas.
I might ask you more about these titles as you go along, but yeah, as you finish doing the etching, I think the rain still falls heavy, wet, and lays out your path darker, more stained. If you do look back, you don't see the body anymore. And up ahead is the path, darkened and shadowed. So closes ring one. We're gonna take our first break. It'll be a 10-minute break, and then when we come back, we'll start with ring two. Okay? 10 minutes. So I bandied about like several terms as we were playing in the first ring. Um, ruin is a mechanic in this particular game that is essentially like your health bar. You start off with one ruin, and you increase by every ritual slash genre you take. In this case, you only started off with two ruin to start. But as you increase your ruin, you get closer and closer to being lost to the environment and the darkness that resides. And once you get to 6, yeah, your character is gonzo. So, but there is a way in Trophy Dark. There is a way to reduce your ruin, and I look forward to telling you about that when that happens. So you have to reach 5 ruin before you can start reducing. Alrighty. So. Ring 2, Ember Birds. As you enter into a more canopied part of this forest, conifers, or just pale bones of pale trees, thinking upon the titles that resonated with you, whether it's something that you've been working on or something that you've scrawled in your mind's eye from the trees. What are you thinking about? Like, what is foremost in your mind, thinking on that title that you wrote? Adriana, the details in the devil. Cassie, servant of the underworld. Corey, the last dance of Beverly Thomas. What is the thought or thoughts foremost in your mind, thinking upon that title in your head?
For Adriana, it's a question right now of details as a plural or detail apostrophe s, because those are two very different things. And she doesn't know at this point which one it is, and all she can think about mostly is like, if it was, because she writes spooky children's books, what she's thinking is like a weird Where's Waldo type book where you have to find the detail, like if there's a big picture of the devil and there's a lot of details in it, and it's like, oh, like what's his name, Hieronymus Bosch, like one of those paintings. And she's like thinking, oh, kids won't like that, and she's like, well, they should. But that's where she's kind of like leaning with that title.
I think given the events down on the path up, Corey's mind is in this sort of like hard-boiled, like neo-noir horror zone, thinking about um, how the protagonist finds themselves pulled back into a situation they know is going to be dangerous, and how they hope it's not their last dance.
Yeah, I think Cassie's still freaking out about Eleanor. And she's convincing herself that this was some crazy elaborate prank, um, like a magician's trick. Uh, that's like that's like just off the wall, requires some kind of skill. Um, uh, and once she's convinced herself of that, thinking about Servant of the Underworld, just thinking, oh, like what if someone comes from hell to people who are about to die? It kind of grants them one last wish. Um, and of course, the wish is always, twisted. Um, and oh, it has to be a wish that they would never make uh, in any other circumstance. It has to be like, like a secret, dark, forbidden uh, desire that was never realized, uh, you know, uh, in life.
I think as you go further along, Adriana, you're up ahead, especially because you didn't want to be involved in the weirdness that was with Eleanor in the first place. And as you're contemplating your details of, or details plural, you are seeing birds sitting on these high branches. They are of varying sizes. Their silhouettes look huge. What birds come to your mind if you're thinking of big birds that, what the hell are they doing here in Maine?
Yeah, well, a really big raven could be pretty big, but if you get bigger than that, it's going to be a bird of prey. You're looking at maybe an osprey, an eagle, um, maybe one of the bigger hawks, which shouldn't be up here. I mean, it could even be a Canadian condor, which is incredibly rare. That's like the biggest bird. That's going to be laughably large. Um, and but I would say if it's big enough to be, it'd probably be bigger than like a big ass raven. So she's pretty thrown by that.
Yeah. I mean, you at first think that the canopy's pretty thick here, where you've ended up, because you only see dots of sunlight, dim sunlight coming through from after the rain passed. But no, it's mostly bird silhouettes. Big, large birds sitting on high branches. And they watch. You all feel their eyes as you enter this area. And at some point, one of them, starts to scream. And then another. And then another. And then another, until they're all screaming louder and louder. And then the first one bursts into flame. And then they all start bursting into flame. And there are flaming words falling down upon you. What do you smell as these flaming words drift down like sooty ash? There is a smell to this. Just after the fire, just after the burning. What do you smell?
Is that to anyone or is that to me?
That's for everybody.
Oh, okay.
It's not burning birds, it's burning paper.
I was thinking there might be the smell of like when dust burns on a heater, like when you turn the heater on for the first time of the year, and it's not a good smell. It's not like you have to run away or cover your nose or be sick, but it's definitely like it's not pleasant.
There's also maybe a smell like a house fire, like wood, but also maybe a little bit of like the acrid plastics or materials that shouldn't be burning mixed in them.
Are we all smelling something different?
Yeah.
We are. Okay. So then I think there was a fire at one of the construction sites I was working at. Um, a mysterious fire, and there was like a chemical, some kind of chemical was released, and it was just painful to uh, to breathe in, and we had to be evacuated.
The fumes from the birds give you their names. You smell the acrid plastics. And it smells like Hugo, Nebula, the dust burns into your brain, Bram Stoker, the chemical fire, James Jones, or Lambda. They are all different species of birds that you see here. And through the flames and the ash, you see up ahead something that looks like an elegant little gazebo. Almost shining here in the middle of the forest. Maybe there's openings in the canopy where the dim sunlight streams through and almost spotlights this gazebo. And it looks like there is a sign on its front that says the Hall of Awards. Do you approach?
Yes, but first I try and see if there's anything left of the birds after they've caught flame and like is there any trace that they were there on the ground, piles of ash or anything at all?
You see paper. You see feathers, but not raven feathers or condor feathers or anything like that. It's like quills, of all things.
Yeah. Strange.
I want to take a quill.
It's a It's a large one, rather fancy. Again, not of the birds that were seen here. And the end looks like it's already tipped with something dried and dark brown. But do you approach the Hall of Awards?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looks like shelter.
It is so neat here. It's filled with literary awards. Along the pillars, the columns that are even inside it, literary awards, press releases, bestseller lists, all of them were earned by one of Del Rey's students. What would you do if you got one of these awards?
Oh, I would put it on my writing desk as a reminder of what I've achieved. And of course, there'll be a picture of it on my website.
Yeah, I think Adriana would take like a really nice picture of it, maybe framed against some good backdrop in the library and make sure to send it to everyone. Like a big BCC list of every author she knows, whoever's shown up in the library to do a reading, and would also make sure that Marcy is on that list.
Has Marcy earned any awards?
I'd say undoubtedly, yeah. One of them is like being on the New York Times bestseller list, which is such a bullshit list because it's just on sales, and it's pretty much like no, don't get her started on it. It's a very irrational argument about why it's not good.
Because Marcy got it is why it's not good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Corey would be excited for maybe a week and then start thinking about how to get the next one.
The reward for good work is more work. What prize are you really after? What prize is each of you most valuing? Is it the fame? Is it the money? Or is it validation? What are you really after?
I think it's the hope that sort of like Del Rey's book reached out to me in a way that I felt I could relate to. It's the idea that maybe if I can push these things that are haunting me onto the page, that it might resonate with someone else down the line and bring some sense of peace. One of us, if not to me.
I think there's like a sense of winning that's not real. Like it's this illusion or, the feeling because you don't get it when you write the book. You don't even get it when you publish the book. Or you don't even get it when it's released because then you're like, I hope it makes sales. I hope it does good. And if you win an award, maybe, but then there's also then the thing of like, well, I hope this keeps working out for me. But there is that momentary rush of endorphins and thrill of like, I've won, and that's what Adriana is definitely. That's the real prize to her.
I think she wants to make her children proud and surprise people that, hey, I'm not just a laborer. Um, I've created something. I'm an artist.
So for the win, inner peace, and to be an artist. I think in this Hall of Awards you see certain framed releases or the bestseller list or the literary award that resonates with you gleam in this spotlight of sun, and the shadows move further along as the afternoon wears through. So ends Ring 2. Ring 3, Skeleton Tree. You go further ahead, and there is a figure that sits under one of the overreaching trees here, strangely shaped. You will recognize him, all of you, as one of the most productive disciples of Del Rey's. This is Valerian Trentor. Each of you name a detail that you recognize him. I mean, just going by his name, Valerian Trentor, what do you think this guy looks like?
I think he's always in a trench coat, 100% of the time. Only ever spotted in a trench coat.
I think he also looks like what I envision Trent Reznor looks like, which is probably not what the real Trent Reznor looks like, but someone who's super, not goth, but industrial goth. Like that is, it's like a real cool ass trench coat, like a leather one with like really long, like probably dyed black hair, or not really long, but longish, and looks like cool as fuck, like a rock star, like an industrial goth rock star.
He has a resemblance as a younger Del Rey, and there's rumors that he's the illegitimate child.
Nice. Well, he's very casual. He's sitting under that tree like he just needs to be inspired. It could be a postcard for, like, industrial goth album cover, whichever. But he seems to be writing furiously, also continuing on his reputation as being very productive. He is writing with a feather, with no readily apparent ink source.
I'm gonna give my camera to Corey, and I'm gonna say, you know, take a picture, and I'm gonna, kind of like sit next to Valerian, and
Yeah.
smile.
I'll like look at the camera, I'll look up to make sure like he seems okay with it.
He is. He's just continually writing with this feather bobbing in, like, in his motions, and he kind of just gives you like the smirking side eye, like not a bad side eye, just like a, you know that.
Good, say cheese.
And I take out the quill that I took from the burning bird, and pretend I'm writing as well.
As you take the picture, Corey, I think you're going to notice that Cassie's face is very excited, very, very, very pleased, and Valerian gives the camera this look of like underneath the eyebrows and very sinister.
I assume it's all part of his whole deal.
Oh yeah, but he continues
Yeah,
to write. He
yeah.
continues to write.
Well, yeah, I'll pass the camera back to Cass and say, like,
Thank you.
I hope it's okay. I don't know.
Let me take this opportunity to look at the dice roller, because I would like each of you to just do a regular roll, and you can roll with any colored dice you want. I mean, it doesn't matter. But yeah, just do me one die, please. Any color you want. Okay, great. So as you get your camera back, Cassie, and Valerian's looking at you, I think you hear him say, "Oboe tree trunk, seriousness, aspirin turtle."
Oh, I write this all down in my journal. Uh, is that a poem?
And he just looks at you and just like, he thinks about it. And then he says another string of like, unconnected words. But I mean, like, he's doing it as if he's like speaking to you, like, this is the advice that I have to impart to you, you know? It's like, do you get it?
Yeah, I mean, I nod as if I do, which I don't, but I'll figure it out.
Adriana, do you approach or do you kind of like hang back and just kind of watch?
I think she might approach like hesitantly, especially once it seems like Cassie's sort of done or has like had an interaction, and Adriana just wants to be like, Mr. Treasure, just want to say, very big fan. If you're ever in like Old Chester for new book promotion, when you release your new book, if you ever want to do a reading, we are in one of New England's seventh oldest library. It's one of the nicest ones. It's considered the treasure of Vermont. You're always welcome.
Coin record feather, tissue, paper, scissors. And then just kind of like a gesture of like, of course, And that's what he says, unconnected words to you, Adriana.
She might be like, oh, okay, Toadstool Volkswagen, any fish, and then sort of like backs off in case like she interaction with celebrity complete. That was weird.
Yeah, she'll Valerian will like hold out his book that he's been writing in with this quill, and he'll kind of just tap it with the quill and just show you. You can't quite read it because like he's been writing very cramped handwriting,
Mm-hmm.
but you do notice it is a dark reddish brown.
The ink. Okay. Mm.
Corey, do you approach?
Oh, well, and I think I'm going to try and see if we can get any information out of him about if he's seen Eleanor Weiss or is aware that there might have been a crime that occurred on these grounds.
You can approach. What do you say
Mhm.
specifically?
Say, first, I'll lead with just Eleanor Weiss. Does that name ring a bell? Do you know her?
Oh, certainly. She was here, and then she was gone. She wrote some, and didn't write other things, but she doesn't produce like I do.
No, but she was here recently.
Yeah, yeah. On your way up to the retreat, huh?
Yeah, yep. We're very much looking forward to it.
You should. You know that with every class of the retreat, there's always just one who is special. Just one who can make it. The others will become one with the trees. Should all beware the bones in the trees. 'Cause they can't speak anymore. How's that for some dancing?
And it's a rather appealing set of steps, I think. How many were in your retreat?
4 total, including me.
And the others are in the trees.
And this is where he waves the quill around. Yeah, you can see them. Those holes. That's them screaming. And he continues to write.
Against my better judgment, I'm gonna go look.
Okay. Risk roll, please. So what do we think will go wrong as Corey does an examination of the trees, of the nearby trees?
Something might grab him through one of the
Mhm.
hole, like a hole in the tree.
Could be, yeah.
A skeleton.
See?
Oh, yeah. I think he finds uh Elnor's tongue.
Ooh, nice. That could be good devil's bargain for later. Okay,
Oh,
so now we start gathering dice. Okay, so light die, it's something you are skilled at because of your occupation or background. If you want to observe or delve deeper, I guess. What do you think?
I don't have a skill in like investigation or clue finding or anything, but I mean, does the occupation itself count? Or
Sure, sure,
okay.
yeah. Take a dark die if you're risking your mind or body. I'm gonna say either in this case. We don't know what's gonna happen. And then you get the second light die to increase your odds of success by accepting a devil's bargain. What do we think will happen no matter what? No
yeah.
matter
I'll
what.
go with my suggestion. There's a tongue there that licks your hand as you put it in the hole. Um, and the tongue is stuck to the tree. I don't know if you're gonna try to pull it out, but that's what happens.
I think a potential devil's bargain is something does get out of your head, but it's literally like in the tree. It's gonna get out of the tree too.
The things that will come out of your head is not actual physical things just yet. I think you're going to hear whispers. You're going to be hearing a lot of whispering. These things talking to you. Yeah. So.
I think I'll take I'm curious how it might unfold. I think I will take that there's going to be some physical thing crawling out of this tree.
Nice. Okay. That's a no matter what. So we'll see how this goes.
Yeah.
Risk roll,
Okay.
please. 2 light, 1 dark.
It's a 5 dark. Ooh.
5 dark. Stop because you can't.
Mhm.
5 is high.
Okay.
Higher than your ruin. Your ruin goes up by 1.
It's a success.
Yeah. So you do succeed. You do find stuff. Or I'd be curious to see what you find and how that ruins you a little bit more.
Yeah. I think after hearing um Valerian, right? Was that his name?
Valerian. Valerian.
Valerian. Yeah. After his cryptic uh, description, I braced myself to find human remains, some bones or something in this hole in the tree. But I think when I looked inside, instead, I just saw a manuscript instead, which at first relieved me. But I think reaching in to pull it out and opening it, the like weight of it became clear because I think the pages of this manuscript, it was written by one of the other students in his cohort, and there are like torn and stained with what looks like blood, and he warned of their screams, and that I was not prepared for. I think as soon as I start flipping through these pages, this screaming fills my ears. I'm not sure if everyone hears it. I think yes, but I'm not sure.
Is this coming from the journal, or from the manuscript, or from the tree?
I think it's from the tree, which probably foretells something crawling out of it in just a moment.
Yep. Because what will happen now is, as you've reached out, grab the manuscript and start flipping through it, and the scream begins. There's answering screams from other parts of these trees, this bank of trees, and the tree that you've reached into will reach for you. Will try to grab you, Corey. And let's see. Cassie, you will also have be by a tree that will also try to grab you with its dry, branchy claws, basically. Adriana, if you turn back to Valerian, he just casually gets up, tucks his manuscript underneath his jacket, and will just give you a salute and walks off while your companions are being harried by the by these trees. Sorry. What do you all do?
So what's grabbing us? Is it
It's the trees.
it's okay, it's just like a branch.
Oh, it's like, basically think of the branches as turning into arms and
Right.
then trying to envelop you or claw at you and grabbing at you. They're grabbing at you, they're grabbing at Corey. For some reason, Adriana is being left alone at the moment. She's watching Valerian walk away.
Could I help one of them? I see that that's a mechanic in the game.
It is.
I just wanted to try it for the sake of doing it
It
too. Well,
is.
and narrative, and because I'm a good person. But no, uh, yeah, I think Adriana might, when she sees him walk by, she still can't understand how he was talking normally to Corey. Like, what the hell was that? So she's like, was he just bullshitting us? And like, what an asshole. Very confused. And then this happens. No time to like process. And I think just because Cassie is closer and had carried her luggage, she'd try to help pull her away from the thing.
Sure. So, Cassie, I'm going to need you to make a risk roll here. And then I'll have you make one, Corey, as well. But let's start with Cassie. So, for the risk roll, what do we think will go wrong? I think maybe the tree will probably try to absorb you, consume you. And, any other ideas for what could go wrong?
I was thinking it might steal her book
Her journal.
idea. Yeah, like the idea, like the book in her head.
Oh, ooh, wow. That could be an interesting devil's bargain. Oops. Well, let's find out.
Yeah.
So, light die, if this is something that you are skilled at because of your occupation or your background, or if you have useful equipment
Right.
to get the hell away or whatever.
Yeah, I'll use my strength
Okay.
as a
All right.
skill.
Dark die, risking your body for sure.
Right.
Second light die for that, increasing your odds of success, accepting a devil's bargain. What do we think will happen no matter what? To Cassie.
Maybe get scratched up, or like that dirt root fingers. There's now like tree sap intermingling with her blood.
Maybe
No matter
tree sap's
what,
coming from you. So, um,
I was just gonna say, no matter what, the screaming of the tree like even after you've escaped from it, follows you.
I think I think the tree that has you, no matter what, will inscribe the skeleton tree cover on your chest. No matter what. So, yeah.
Right.
Tree sap, tree follows you, or having skeleton tree on your chest. Which one
Oh
would you
man,
like?
those are all creepy. Yeah, I mean, I definitely have to do the skeleton tree on my chest because I have to be the number one fan. So,
Okay. All right. So 2 light, 1 dark, please.
all right.
And then do I do anything with helping or no?
Yes. Hold on. Let's
Okay.
go with the help. You're going to roll. Okay. Risk roll at least 1 dark dot. Yes. You can help either before or after that you roll. So if Cassandra accepts your offer, Adriana, then you have to tell us how you expose yourself to danger, and then roll a light die for under help.
Okay.
How do you?
So
Yeah. How are you vulnerable?
I think she could get knocked aside by these branches because it's not like there's just going to be 2 branches. There could be multiple branches,
Oh yeah.
or like a root can pull her down, pull her to
Sure.
not kind of like trip her to the ground.
Love it. Okay. Yeah. So I mean, if you want to roll 2, then you would roll 1 light die under help,
Okay.
and then Cassie, you're 2 light, 1 dark, please, under risk.
Okay. Oh, all right. So,
Oh.
do I
Oh.
decide I
Ugh.
want to re-roll first, or do I wait to see
All
what
right.
the help
Well,
is like?
Well, help. I mean, like it looks like Adriana has already rolled it, so you got a 6. That's good.
Oh,
So
good.
you can use the light die in your roll. So does the light die match any dark die in the player's roll? No. So you're good.
Oh, thank God.
Right. Okay. So lose the light die in your roll. Okay. So basically, you've got the 6, which causes an automatic success. So you succeed in getting away from the tree with Adriana's help. Maybe after, well, you guys narrate like how this looks, and then I'll narrate how you get, you know.
I mean, I think Adriana's just trying to pull on Cassie, just like trying to pull her away from the tree, basically. But I don't know what Cassie was trying to do.
Yeah, I'm just trying to use my weight and my strength to like pull. Um, but I think these like there's like tiny branches like kind of wrap around me as well, like scouring my skin. Um, but I think I just like yell and muscle my way through it with Adriana's help.
Yeah. But I think whatever you're wearing, these little branches have managed to pierce you. So it's almost like they've created like kind of like a pointillism pattern like on your chest. So
Right.
it's not exactly like Eleanor's, but it is pretty damn close with skeleton tree emblazoned on your chest, whether you wanted it or not.
And
Adriana, what do you think of these trees screaming and trying to tear at Corey and Cassandra?
I mean, this is terrifying and bad, and it doesn't. None of this is getting weird. It's gotten weird a long time ago. Um.
Go ahead and make a ruin roll, please.
Okay. Just click ruin.
Hmm?
Oh well, it
Yep.
is less than 6.
Yes. So you can tell us, like, as you help Cassie, or as you're looking around at this cacophony of living trees, like what is What do you sense? What do you see that is bringing you closer to ruin?
I think it's the in what is this? This is like the impersonal or what merciless nature of nature that like why there why are you doing this? And it's just like there's no why because this is how like if the forest survives by taking the decomposing bodies and it takes their nutrients, but this is sort of like it just this is the way it is done and it makes no sense to a person and it's really freaking her out.
Take the condition devil's details.
Whoa.
Corey. So your tree is like, you've got the manuscript from its mouth, and then maybe like not only is it trying to grab for you, but maybe it is also starting to lean in to try and take a chomp out of you as well. So, risk roll. What do we think could happen if this goes wrong? I mean, I think at the very least, it's like Corey's gonna lose something, a hand, or you know, have a big bite taken out. So that's something. Anybody else have anything that could go wrong?
I will say that Cassandra will try to help
Okay,
once she's free.
okay. Well, let's build the die roll first, and then Cassandra, tell me how, like after you've like contemplated your chest, like how you're trying to be vulnerable and helping Corey. Okay, Corey, light die. If this is something you are skilled at because of your occupation or your background.
Yeah, I'll go with running.
Okay. Dark die. You're risking your body, possibly your mind, depending on how bad it gets. And, of course, second light die for accepting a devil's bargain. Something comes out of the tree, so then now what happens? I think the devil's bargain that I'm going to offer is that this tree, no matter what, will separate you from the others. And so, therefore, you will go deeper into the forest. You will probably find your way over to Del Rey's eventually, but you will not be with everyone else. You'll be separated. That's my DB. What else do we think will happen no matter what?
What if no matter what you get like a moss on you?
What if what if somehow one of Corey's um uh secrets is laid bare to the other two?
Ooh. Could be fun. What do you think?
Yeah, I like that one. I think we also haven't seen the other shoe drop in terms of the thing coming out of my head actually sneaking out of this tree. So I think these could be combined.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so I'll take that last one.
Okay. Two
Some
light.
secret is laid bare. Yeah.
Yep. And then, Cassie, how are you making yourself vulnerable?
Oh, I think the thing is, I think if this makes sense, like Corey dropped the manuscript, and I know authors, they value their work, and losing it is like unimaginable. So I'm just gonna grab it and threaten to tear it in half in front of the tree, yelling at it.
Interesting. Interesting. Okay. We'll see how the tree reacts, depending on the roll. Alrighty, so go ahead and make a help roll, one light die for you, Cassie, and then for Corey, please do 2 light, 1 dark, please. Wow, all 4s. If this is higher than your ruin goes up by 1. I don't think so. Yeah, it's the same.
It's equal, yeah.
Yeah, so
And
you're gonna go
the
up.
help is better.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll take the light 5.
Yep. And it doesn't match any dark dice, so your ruin doesn't go up. Okay. All right. So you do succeed with a complication. Yeah, so tell us how you managed to get away, and then Cassie threatening to tear up the manuscript. But yeah, tell us what happens. This isn't necessarily ruinous for you, but tell us what comes out of the tree as you're
Yes.
trying to get away.
So I think the like whatever it was left in this tree of the author that was once in it um takes enough pause, or its grip weakens just enough, seeing you hold up the manuscript, um that that Corey's able to rip free. Um but uh I still feel like a pull, like something almost spider webby. And I look back and there's this like shadowy like claw reaching its way out of this hole. And it's followed by like another and another. And it seems like they're trying to push some body out of the tree, some physical form. But instead it's just more arms until the hole is just like the side of the tree is covered by these grasping arms, um, until they stop scrambling and one just points at the manuscript like a long gnarled claw, the manuscript Cassandra is holding. And I think the words on it have changed, and maybe from its pointing, I'm just like scrambling, trying to get away from whatever's happening to this tree. Um, the manuscript now details, or maybe even it's just like a not even a manuscript anymore. It's a like a dossier of um, of my involvement with a like occult organization, um, before I became a police officer.
Amazing. And so, do you tear up the manuscript in your hand, Cassie, or do you just shove it down the tree's throat to help Corey out?
Yeah, I think when I see that it's changed, I kind of, like, what the hell is this? Yeah, I'm just gonna shove it in back to the tree where it was.
I think those arms and the hands that are trying to make their way out, I think they clasp onto the manuscript, and then you are feeling like they are cradling it as just as they grab it from you, and then it's almost like it's kind of like a vacuum that has sucked it all the way back in, and then the tree remains gnarled, but it doesn't move anymore. Same with the other tree that was trying to, well, that did etch you. And you are in the middle of this clearing as if nothing had happened.
All right, I asked Adriana, which way did he go?
Valerian,
Yeah, yeah.
he went, and she kind of points not back where they came, but toward, he went a different direction from the gazebo. So she kind of just points out, he just kind of walked off that way.
I'm stomping off after him.
What? And she's probably going to be just getting caught up in the most like, and it's like, why?
We need some answers.
Well, I don't
Something's
think he can
He's
talk
gonna, yeah.
much except for to you. And then she turns on to Corey, like, he gave answers to you.
Yeah, but nothing useful. They were mostly, they felt like threats, to be honest. And it seems like those threats were made good on.
That's true.
I think we need to find Del Rey.
Path is there. You can see the matted grass. You can see the dirt where you can see the grooves of people's footsteps as they make their way up the hill, up the mountain. And as the adrenaline pumps in your system and you remember the weird horrors in the woods that you've seen so far, inspiration strikes. What new ideas come into your minds? What luscious new horrors do you create?
In the first chapter of The Last Dance of Beverly Thomas, I think Beverly Thomas loses her tongue and has to go the entire story in this state. I think the horror is amplified by the lack of ability to be understood. And that wall is more isolating than any of the other supernatural threats, the the invasions that she must battle.
Corey, take the conditions speechless.
I was just thinking like the things that Valerian had said, how weird it all was, and there. If this was a Where's Waldo type book, and there'd just be like all these random things, like it's like a turtle and then this, and like here's some, and it's just like these images actually don't need to make sense. What they need to do is disorient kids, and it's just like this is a pretty weird book for kids, but I actually think it would be kind of interesting, because it's not like spooky goosebumps, but like yeah, Hieronymus Bosch, like let them wonder what the hell that means, and she's like, I don't need to know what it means. I just need to like draw it. I'll say she's like an author illustrator, and she's like, I can just draw it, and I'm not going to tell them what it means, and that's going to be popular actually because it's going to just drive everyone up the wall.
I think in The Servant of the Underworld, one of the dying wishes is a woman whose children are bullied. Um, and I think it's going to be written almost like a twisted version of the Giving Tree, where it protects the child. Um, and I see there's a veil to harm to children. So I won't I won't go into details. But yeah, I think the bullies like the tree will give the bullied child like a a branch to as a weapon uh and I think the branch at one point at the end the branch breaks and instead of like wood in there it's like flesh and bone um that's part of the inside of that weapon she uses. um yeah.
As you make your way up the hill, maybe you take out your journals and like try to scribble these ideas down before they disappear out of your head. But I think even as your little processional makes its way up the hill, maybe you take a furtive glance at one of your companions. The one that didn't help. The one that stood by and did nothing. Regardless of whether that's true or not, who do you suspect as getting in your way when the time comes?
Do you want answers? Or is
Yes.
that oh, okay. Well, Adriana definitely would say Corey. She thinks that Cassie's pretty nice, actually, or like from the way that she's acted. And no way Adriana's going to point to the finger at herself. So by default, it's going to have to be Corey, who, if is also doing this investigation, and was a member of some strange organization beforehand, even if she doesn't know any of that. Let's just say that's suspicious. She does have an investigation or noticing things out of order. There's just like something about Corey that makes her a little wary.
I think Corey is worried about what Cassandra saw while holding that dossier, um, and suspects that uh, her there might be something hiding behind her suspiciously kind front, because someone cannot simply be a kind, excited, gentle, helpful person and write the things that Corey has seen Cassandra write. That's what Corey thinks. Whether or not it's true, who knows? But this is what Corey's thinking.
So could you repeat the question again?
Yeah. Who do you suspect will be in your way when the time comes? Who did not help you and just stood by as things were happening?
Yeah, I mean, Adriana definitely helped me. So it has to be Corey, but I think I, I think Corey's like I think Corey's not doing it maliciously. I think there's something wrong with her. There's like something she's hiding and it's torturing her and she needs to let it out or bad things are gonna happen.
Find out. And we close out of ring 3. Ring 4. Somehow you have managed to reach some kind of blasted heath because the ground is cracked here. There are jagged rocks. There are obstacles in your way. Maybe trees that have been downed, but this does not look natural the way they are jutting out of the ground or even upon and in each other. Ring 4 is they walk beneath. The forest is in upheaval. You sense and also feel rumbling underneath your feet. You feel the thrumming of something as if you're hearing chanting or some kind of rhythm. There are cracks. And maybe when you look down into these little cracks, maybe you see eyes that don't look anything human. Maybe in the fallen branches, maybe you see things reaching out in the shadows. I think, Corey, you're going to see bushes again rising out of these rifts, almost like foliage, smoke. And in these bushes, you'll see tongues, as if they're speaking to you. And Adriana, I think the contortions of the forest look like every other contortion. The trees that sink into their trunks. There's another one that looks exactly the same. Is it? This patch of ground looks exactly the same as what you just passed. Is it? It's a bit disorienting. And Cassie, maybe in the branches of these trees, you see figures of flesh and bone. If you want to traverse this area, you're going to have to make risk rolls. It's going to be dangerous. You will stumble. You will fall. You will need to run because it is as if the ground is ready to burst. So let's take
I think
this.
I might just,
Go
yeah,
ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think I might just make a run for it, just like seeing this like blasted uh landscape before us.
Sure.
Maybe the house is still visible in the distance. I don't know. I think I'm
Right.
just desperate at this point.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, easy thing to happen to go wrong is that you're going to stumble and fall into one of these cracks. Um, yeah, in the interest of time, I'm just going to like ask one of you for a devil's bargain, like, as we're nearing the end here. So, building your die roll. Light die, if this is something you are skilled at because of your occupation or background.
Yep, I'm running.
Good. All right. Dark die, this is risking your body and possibly mind once you start seeing things. So, who knows? And your light die for accepting a devil's bargain. Cassie, Adriana, do either one of you have a ready-made devil's bargain that you want to offer?
You drop your gun?
I'll take it. I could use another
Oh,
die.
Okay.
you
So,
dropped your gun and we saw that you were carrying one.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
okay. Yeah. All right. 2 light, 1 dark, please.
That is a 5 light, which I will keep.
Okay. All right. So stop at 5 light. So you succeed. Tell me how you managed to get around all these obstacles slash, these the tremors and the little holes and rifts that are starting to separate the ground.
Yeah, I think just like coming out of the like semi shock of the tree situation, feeling like I don't know, like the only way things are going to make any sense is if we can just make it to the end. Um, I as soon as we emerge out into the landscape, to start sprinting and try and outrun the cracks as they open up across the ground from me under my feet. Um, as I do so, I think, yeah, I knock my holster or whatever, and the gun that I had strapped to my side just like flies off, and I don't have time to stop. It probably doesn't even fall in a crack. It probably falls on the ground somewhere where someone theoretically could pick it up if they really wanted to.
Someone can theoretically pick it up, absolutely, and I think the
Mhm.
complication is that you are separated now from the others. You
Mhm.
can make it to Del Rey's, but you won't be with the others for sure. Okay?
Mhm.
So, who's next in line to try and get through this growing, not minefield, but, like this obstacle course of the changing environment and the cracks that are developing in the ground?
Yeah, I'm gonna make a run for it.
Okay? All right,
Uh,
Cassie, go ahead and make a risk roll. So, what do we think will happen? You can stumble, you can trip, you can, yeah, possibly fall in a hole. That's what I'm usually going to offer. Um, Light dive, something that you are skilled at because of your occupation or your background.
yeah, my hiking, I know how to watch my feet,
Cool.
footing.
Dark die, brisk to body, possibly mind if you see something weird. All right. Light die for accepting a devil's bargain. Adriana, do you have a devil's bargain you want to offer?
Um, I no, I can't think of one. Sorry. Yeah.
It's okay.
I'm trying to think, but I'm not sure yet.
Corey, do you have one?
Or maybe no matter what, something crawls from one of the holes and sticks onto you.
Sure.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Wait, I got one. But if you like that one, go for it. I was gonna say, no matter what, you get to Del Rey's place last.
Oh.
Yeah,
That
I'll
could
take
be
that.
advantageous too. Who knows? I
Yeah.
mean, like, you're not sure.
Uh, I think I'll take that one. That's interesting. Because I don't know what it. All right.
Okay.
Cool.
2 light, 1 dark, please.
Oh, whoops. All right. Oh, man.
Oh, wow. Okay, great. So, yeah, 6 dark. That means that you will get some ruin for
All
sure.
right.
So, tell me how you hmm, tell me how you succeed getting across this place, putting your feet in the right place, but yet you still fall prey to the darkness of the forest.
Oh,
And raise your ruin by 1 if you haven't already.
um, uh, what do I see?
Remember, you're also jumping over cracks in the ground.
Right.
Things might be underneath.
Uh, yeah, yeah. I in the cracks, I see like tiny hands coming up, uh, and I realize they're not trying to hurt me. They're trying to ask for help, and I can't give it.
And Adriana, yeah. So you have to make a run for it. Definitely dangerous to try and get past this vibrating, splitting hill with the trees moving and jutting around. And again, you're a little bit disoriented here
Mm-hmm.
because everything starts to look the same. So,
Well, I do have a balancing skill. I'm going to choose that to be literally balancing, I
cool.
guess. I don't
All
know
right.
how it works for librarian, keeping your feet when you're
Yeah.
carrying a ton of books or something.
Sure.
And so she's just able, or you know what? It's those new damn duck boots she bought. They're great for outdoor walking, and she's
Yeah.
the tread on them is very fresh, so it
Brilliant.
gives a good grip.
Okay.
And it is one of those situations. It's almost like walking on ice, a way to not crack the ice. Like there's certain ways. Oh man, this is even bonkers. She's just like, no, that's not how you get off of ice. I forget. You have to crawl off the ice so you spread your body weight. This seems like a terrible idea, but that's what she's going to be doing. So we'll see
Okay.
how that goes.
Okay. Got it. I love that. I love the fact that you're using balancing for this, though. That's awesome. All right, so that's the first light die. Dark die, of course, because this is dangerous. You're trying to go through this ever changing mass, and so light die, second light die for accepting the devil's bargain. What do we think will happen no matter what? Kassandra, Corey, do you have a ready-made devil's bargain you want to offer? I think my devil's bargain to you is that you're going to see Marcy chasing after you. Marcy is going to be following you as you try to make it to Del Rey's first.
Okay.
And she's threatening you as she's trying to, or taunting you. That's it. She's taunting you. It's like how you're never gonna make it. She's has all the accolades. She has all the awards, and she has books that people want to buy. I sell shit, girl. So that's my devil's bargain. Anybody else have anything?
Yeah, I'd say the same thing, but she's ahead of you rather than behind you.
Oh, that's good too. Oh man.
Wow. Okay. Rod, do you have one? No. Okay. I mean, I'll go with that she's Marcy is ahead of me in taunting. That's
Perfect.
great.
Perfect.
To Adriana, it sucks, but as an
Yeah,
idea,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Okay, so 2 light, 1 dark.
Yes,
All
please.
right.
Okay.
That is higher than my ruin, so it will go up by 1.
Yep. Ruin goes up by 1. Tell us how you fall prey to the darkness of
Uh,
what you do. Even though you succeed, you
yeah.
manage to spread your weight around, you crawl, but
Well, I think the darkness part is as she crawls over and she sees Marcy saying all these things, and she's so pissed because like she hasn't gone through any of this shit yet, and she was here just like she's like walking 5 steps ahead of them and gets to avoid all of the horror, and then she kind of comes across the gun, and then she's just like like, well, at least my books are fucking original, and like and just empties the clip into her whether she's really there or not. um and I think it's probably actually more horrific if she is there. Like she's just like, and like, fuck it, she feels good about it. Like she's like good, I'm glad she's dead. The literary world is better without her in it, which is a very unfair thing to say. Like it's not like this, but she's just like, good, fuck it. And like gun is gone, she is gone, and she's gotten out of there. And then she gets up and she just walks out of there. Maybe the ground's not even, what's the word, trembling anymore because of this darkness.
absolutely amazing. Ah! Okay. As you all make your way in your own way, in your own directions, as you make your way up further the hill, maybe you see like just the tips of Del Rey's house. There is a voice on the wind talking, but you can't make out the words just yet. The tone of the voice is kind, firm, the voice of a teacher or mentor telling a tale of 3 students who make their way up an insurmountable hill. And they have obstacles in their way, they have their own challenges, and their inner voices are telling them no, but yet they persevere. And every once in a while you will hear your own names, and maybe something that sounds like applause. As we close out of Ring 4 and enter Ring 5, Shattered. You are all separated now. You make your way to the house, maybe from different directions. Dirty, battered, tired. But there it is. There's the clearing. This elegant house that seems to rise through the trees. Golden light shining from within it. It is evening time now. Relatively peaceful. Yet, in the yard of this house, you see the one-hit wonder students, those who wrote one book and then burnt out. These people, even though you recognize them from maybe their press pictures or their book covers in the back, they are nothing like their actual selves. They are the shattered husks with no mouth, their fingers grown together into crude clubs, with smothered moans. Maybe they see you, maybe they don't. And maybe these people that are people, these creatures that are wandering around in this yard, maybe one of them looks very similar to you. What do you see in at least one of these figures that reminds you of yourself? What do you see in one of these creatures that reminds you of yourself?
I think it's not necessarily like an individual one of them, but the fact that there's sort of like shambling through this like foggy field in front of the house pulls me into the like frame of mind of zombie media and reminds me of like the um some of the first like horror stories that I grew up on slash like made me want to do what I'm doing now. And I think like wanting both the pull of the like zombie genre plus the fear of being like that, of being sort of subsumed into this hive mind, sort of reminds me of myself and why I'm doing what I'm doing.
I think Adriana would see this. I think it's like if they're defeated, and to her they're meek, but they're also like weak. I think is like she just sees them all as ultimately losers. Like you only could write one book for whatever reason. Like you really couldn't write another, then you're not a writer. Well, you were, but you were a writer. And she just kind of like looks at them with mostly like disdain. It's just like they shouldn't have even come on this retreat. Like what a waste, you know?
And I think Cassie sees one that has like uh, a t-shirt of the Ember Birds and all these, a jacket with all these pins of different different titles and covers of Esteban Del Rey. Obviously a fan.
Yeah, I think as you make the approach, and maybe they haven't seen you, but it's almost as if these things that you've manifested in your own head, whether they be your thoughts, they have come to life in that you see these shambling husks, but then out of the fog, out of the forest, Corey, maybe you see something that looks like a zombie of sorts, but it's made of tongues. And Adriana, you see something that looks like your disdain personified, sweeping its way through these creatures. And Cassie, your doppelganger of Del Rey's #1 fan, is being subsumed by the true fan. A moving heap of darkness that seems to be made of all the things that has horrified people in Del Rey's work. The trees, the birds, the creatures beneath, all of it, all at once. In this thing, it's decimating. Behind the monsters, there's the cozy house. The characters you can see, excuse me, Del Rey, beckoning. But from your vantage point, he's not beckoning to you. He's beckoning to someone else that maybe you see on the periphery. Adriana, you see, arm in arm, you see Corey with Marcy. And it looks like Del Rey is saying, "Come forth. Come. Come to the retreat." Corey, you see coming from the opposite direction, you see Cassie being called forth by Del Rey. And Cassie, you can see opposite you that Del Rey is beckoning to Corey, opening his arms as if to welcome his #1 fan. Close to the house, there is one single typewriter, one place for a person to come and write. just the one. And the first character to reach this seat will end the story. So, in the interest of time, sorry, and my voice, we're going to just go right to the contest rules. And the way this works is this is the ending mechanic for a Trophy Dark game. On the sheet, contest rule decides to participate. When treasure hunters act against each other, they must agree on what is at stake. The basic stake is that only one seat at the retreat, at the typewriter. So you have to get there. If you're going to compete, you're going to take a light die. If you have a skill or equipment that makes the contest easier, you take another light die for each mark of ruin that you currently have. And then you take a dark die if the contest itself is inherently deadly or dangerous. That's a yes. And then you would just take as many additional dark die as you are willing to risk. So I'll help you build this roll, but I just wanted to give that an overview of what it takes. So, seeing what I just described, you see your opposing number, basically, your competitor. What do you do, if anything, to stop them from being the first to get to Del Rey and the typewriter?
Can we use our rituals?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't mean to save it for the end, but I'm kind of curious just how they work. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Adriana would definitely use her ritual here.
Okay. All right. So, here is a very magical place, and using any ritual is inherently dangerous, so you would automatically get that dark die for activating a ritual. Okay, so building your die roll, just as an example, you're going to activate your ritual against Corey and Marcy. Adriana?
Yeah, that sounds good. Because it says I can make a threat more harmless or more horrible. She's going to make her own threat more harmless, because that walking disdain, that's pretty. They're cool. That's, they're cool with each other.
Okay. So are you sicking the walking disdain on Marcy and Corey?
Oh no, I thought it was going to make it that her own threat is easier to get by, because you said they're like kind of blocking the way as like the zombie, the disdain, and then the true fan thing. Like, am I envisioning this incorrectly though?
I mean, basically, the walking disdain is under your control.
Oh, okay. I thought it was something I'd have to like confront or deal with while I'm trying to beat the two of them to get there. Then I would just make their threats more horrible.
Okay. Perfect. So that's the stakes on that one. That's Adriana. Sorry, just want to say, and then Corey, who are you acting? Sorry, are you acting against Cassie?
I was thinking, so I can make a threat overreach with aggression. I think I just want to set the closest threatening thing on a total rampage. I just want chaos.
Nice. That's a
It could be the tongue zombie that's just
yeah.
like tearing
Perfect.
through.
Okay, which could cause havoc everywhere. All right, Cassie.
So mine's a little more abstract. It says you can give a threat a name. And right now, so we're saying the threats are the other players.
Yes. And you don't have to use a ritual. It could be, pardon, something as mundane as just pure attacking. But you do have control over Del Rey's darkness. And you don't necessarily have to do it against the other players either.
Right.
Depends on how you want to implode. So
No, you know what? Okay, I don't know how this is gonna work, but I'm gonna try to wake up Corey and Adriana, and I'm I don't want them to play this game, and I don't want to play this game, and I'm saying, yeah, Adriana, you're doing what you're doing out of jealousy, but you don't have to, this isn't zero sum, and whoever this Marcy is, you can beat her without without that. And I point to Del Rey and Corey. I don't know what you're running from, but whatever it was, this isn't the way to do it. You're just gonna invite it into your head forever. Because whoever touches that typewriter is it's gonna belong to him. I'll point to Del Rey.
you can give a threat a name. So you are using it. Okay, cool. All right. So let's go through everybody's dice rolls. Light die if you have a skill or equipment that makes this contest easier. So each of you pull out what you wanna parlay as useful to you for that first light die. Corey.
Fighting.
Okay.
Or actually intimidating, maybe more so than
Oh yeah.
anything.
Perfect. Okay. First light die, and then you get another 4 light die for your 4 ruin. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody basically, if you can give me the skill, everybody gets 5 light die to start. Okay. So Adriana, what's your skill that you're using? You're on mute.
Man, it was brilliant. I wish I remember what I said. I think I would like to try symbols because this is a symbolic-ish thing here.
Perfect.
And I don't know. I find that kind of interesting.
Okay, cool. All right. So again, you're loading up the contest roll. So, Cassie, which skill are you using?
Oh, this is totally metaphorical, but I think I'm trying to build a bridge between
Oh.
me and and the others. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So each one of you will load up 5 light die for your contest roll to start. Okay. And the dark die, you definitely get the first dark die because this is inherently dangerous in some way, shape, or form. It's like if it goes wrong, it could really go wrong. We'll have to see. And then you would pick yourself. You would pick however many dark die you want to add to your roll to increase your odds of success. However, for every dark die that shows up as 1, you add a point of ruin to your total, your current total. So, kind of weigh out your options of like how you want to increase your success, but mitigate your risk. It is up to you. All right. So everybody starts off with 5 light, and then you load up however many dark die you want, but don't roll just yet. Let's make sure everybody's loaded up their dark die number.
And so if you get like the 6 ruin, you're kind of like removed from play. That means
you've basically gotten lost to the environment. I have seen people win with all the 6s, but then they have an equal number amount of 1s, which bumps up their ruin to over 6, which is great. So again, how you interpret the results is pretty much up to you. Okay? But what we're aiming for winning the actual contest is however many whoever has the most 6s. If there's a tie, then we go down to 5s until we get like a clear winner. So, but again, every dark die that shows up 1 adds to your ruin. All right. So, does everybody have their numbers loaded?
And we don't tell each other the numbers because I'm like, I
You
don't know.
could. If you
You
want.
usually don't.
I have, but some people like to keep it mysterious. So if you want to
Okay.
tell, fine. But if you don't want to, you don't have to.
Okay.
Everybody ready?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Good here.
All right. 3, 2, 1, roll. Ooh, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so Adriana, you win with 4 sixes, but you have 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 3's ruined. Corey, you have 2 sixes, no 1, so that's good. And then you have Cassandra, who has 1 6 and no dark ones. Okay, so this is fun. Adriana, you win, but you lose. You've won the contest, so you have set upon your the threats of Corey and Cassie as more dangerous, but you're lost to the darkness. Okay, so think on that. Think of how that parlays to you, and so therefore, I mean, I guess winning would be Corey to, you know, aggression, like, you know, you're just like setting the tongue beast on everything. Okay, just tell me how that looks. And then unfortunately, Cassandra, you did not win, but you know, you did succeed with a 6, so maybe there's a glimmer of hope, but then you didn't it's too late, right? Because it sounds like Adriana and Corey had fallen to their darkness. Or not Corey, but I mean, like, just this is the particular ending where you narrate the results of your role for this circumstance. Okay, so conceivably,
Where do
Adriana.
we start?
Yeah, let's start with the loser, which would be Cassandra. So, Cassandra, you do succeed, but it doesn't seem to work on the 2. Maybe you try to convince him. Tell us how you try to give them a glimmer of light, but they may be ignoring you.
Oh, yeah, I think I think I'm trying to I'm just trying to make a plea, and I think I'm getting through, but um I think we see those birds return, and they just start squawking, and then the trees are starting to scream, and my voice is completely drowned out to whatever they're saying. And and I think uh I see out of the corner of my eye, I think I see Eleanor again, and she's calling to me frantically. Well, not calling, but gesturing to me frantically. And this time I heed her, and I'm running off into the forest.
Corey?
Yeah, I think from my perspective, it's chaos. Everything is running wild in front of the house, and I'm just trying to, you know, imagine myself the protagonist in this action horror scenario, dodging between these club-like creatures, my own demon, trying to avoid its like wild rampage. And I think probably um, out of the corner of my eye, I see Adriana reach the typewriter just before me. What happens, I guess we'll find out in a second. But whatever happens, I guess leaves me just short of it, but maybe with an inkling that I might be able to take her place there when whatever claims her.
Adriana?
I think as she walks towards it, you kind of realize that the disdain personification, they're almost like mirroring each other as they kind of walk, and then they kind of just become one person. And as all of these screams and the fire, like the birds return, she kind of undoes that coat, her puffy coat, and she's kind of like a different version of herself. Like she's kind of glamorized, much in the way that Valerian had that look. She has like a real like librarian chic, incredibly stylish, like looks absolutely perfect as she just gets to the typewriter, and then she's just types down "The Devil's in the Details" by Adriana Childermass. And that's not the one who entered these woods. That's not the person who entered these woods, and it's not going to be the being that leaves with that in disguise.
Awesome. So, now we hit epilogues, which you do not implicate another character. If you have died or been lost, you state how, at some point in the future, either near or distant, like how the world has moved on without you, or what you are currently doing. And then for the others who survived, how you are forever changed by your experience here. And you can pick a point, again, near or distant future. That's up to you.
I think we're fast forwarding probably a decade into the future, and we sort of follow Corey as they package and mail a manuscript to their editor, and then make their way back to an extremely sparse apartment, almost like a bare white walls, plain concrete floor, just a bed in the corner and a desk with a computer. And Corey sits at the desk and opens up another blank document and starts to type. We see through like maybe a montage of like press releases or something like this, that they're working on their like 12th book in like a seemingly endless series that started off maybe shortly after the retreat to some acclaim, but slowly has sort of fallen into the realm of curiosity. And they make less and less sense as the series goes on. Um, there's been, plot threads introduced and dropped and introduced, as Corey continues to struggle to try and push their experiences out into the world in a way that they can process. And it seems that their editor only continues to publish them out of the hope that maybe one day one will once again catch that spark from 10 years back.
If we wanted, I think, following on the 10 years in the future, and we go to the library where Adriana used to work and still does. It's now actually, instead of a public library, it's a private one, meaning she's purchased it with her fortune. It is just still a normal library, but it's not run by the city or county or state. And she talks about, she's having her press conference because, although it is very sad that Esteban del Rey has passed away, she will continue his legacy right here at this library with a writer's retreat for up and coming authors as well. And she's accepting new applicants. It's to start on the same day that it did the original one that she went to, because as she says, and she kind of smiles and has her stylish glasses, her hair is still perfect. She hasn't aged a day, it seems. She's like, I owe my life to that retreat. Quite literally, it gave me everything.
Oh, all right. Trying to think what would be yeah. Oh, so yeah, we'll do the reset button. Yeah, I think we see like three figures walking in like a misty forest. Um, and you hear them chatting. Uh, and one is saying, "Oh, I can't wait to meet Adriana Childermass in person. I'm so happy I made this retreat." And they're walking, and one of them stops and says, "Who's there's someone there?" And you see Cassandra um, in the same place where Eleanor was standing, and she's just like shaking her head, and enough of her shirt's open that you could see the tree there now, the full thing, and and the and the yeah, and I think the three of them, look at her and start one of them starts walking. Hey, I think that's Cassandra next. I I heard she went missing for a previous retreat, and then yeah, and I think one of the other writers just grabs her arm and says, "Oh, come on, don't be chasing. There's probably just some local trying to play a prank at you." And then they go heading their way to the mansion.
Amazing! Oh my god. And so endeth Writer's Retreat. Amazing, guys. Congrats! Congrats! Oh, and as a trophy newbie, Kirk, excellent job. Excellent job. Just want to say
Thank
that
you.
right off. Um, stars and wishes. Stars are things you appreciated about the gameplay, role play, each other. And then wishes, I mean, obviously one shot, but I mean, like, if there was anything that you wish you would have seen, or if you were going to, I don't know, play this again in the future, you know? So I'm just gonna say it. I mean, like, amazing characters. Oh, I just loved like all the little details, like the way you guys answered the prompts, and then the endings and the epilogues were just mwah, mwah, mwah. So good. I loved it. Oh, always a great experience with Trophy Dark because it can get bleak, it can get tragic, and just all the vibes, all the damn vibes. I love them all. And you guys did such an excellent job. I mean, especially in the role play in between different things, and then the reactions to the rings, like the stuff that happened in the rings, and just the the most fun, weird responses to falling into ruin or seeing strange things and going, "What the fuck?" I loved it. So good. I mean, I was watching this movie in my head as you were playing it, so I mean, it was well good. What is it like? I want to see the A24 movie of this. Yeah, for sure. That's my wish. The A24 movie of this. Who's
Yeah,
next?
I definitely have a star for everybody. I mean, like, Mads, thank you for running this, and I think you're a very good narrator. Like the moments of just setting it up, it's very nice. It's very evocative, and like the imagery without too much narrate. Like it just really struck. It's very distilled, and then just characterize. I don't know, like Ben, I really thought it was cool that Corey was this cop, and then like was kind of doing this investigation. I was like, that ain't happening. Like that's not gonna. We're not gonna save anybody here is very very interesting. And similarly, Rod, I thought like that Cassandra was nice, like wanted to help people. I assumed going in that everyone was going to be kind of just evil or at least very selfish, and I'm like, well, how's this going? And I thought it makes it more tragic. It makes it like it adds like a very interesting, what's the word, depth or nuance to everything, not just all the characters but the game itself. So I thought that was really cool. And then both like the endings, the epilogues, like you said, that's a total star. I feel like that makes it really nice and brings it like kind of full circle. Um, my wish is just to play more Trophy Dark to see what it's like, or Trophy Gold to see what it's like. I'm not too like I know there's a difference. And like you said, yeah, I think my wish is that this feels like an interesting anthology horror series, and every episode would every incursion is totally different, and so you just get these like kind of dark stories that must have a different flavor or feel every time. So like I see it says theme words. I feel like we definitely did accomplish that very, very strongly. So this was very, I feel like the bar has been set very high for trophy for me. I feel like this was a very cool experience, and I learned a lot and got a lot out of it. So
I will say you unfortunately did not learn about the reduction roll, because that's what happens when you reach like ruin 5. Because when you want to reduce your ruin so you don't get to 6 right away, then you have to do something to sabotage or betray your companions, or neglect to tell them something, whichever. But, you know, you make the reduction roll and it always works. So you always get to reduce your ruin by 1, and you can keep reducing until you get to your starting ruin. However, depending on the success of the roll will determine whether you go unnoticed when you do it, or if your companions find out that you're betraying them. So that's a mechanic that you didn't get to see, which, yeah.
Yeah, I mean that probably would have been my only wish. Stars wise, I think yeah, the incursion lived up to expectations in terms of the vibes. I thought it was great, and of course, Mads, you did a good job leading us through it. Um, and yeah, the characters were very, very fun, and very fun to play off. I think three very different characters, which is always great, when you have these like uh, clashing or just like intense personalities, um, with opposing goals thrown into an extremely confusing situation. I think that's always fun to see how it plays out, and you all did a great job playing it out, in fun ways. Um, yeah, stars for the ending, spectacular, really, really fun. And I think the opening as well. I think it set the tone, just that first interaction with uh Eleanor uh at the start, and then like how Adriana was like looking at the bird while Kassandra was being so helpful, and yet putting herself in great danger. I thought it all sort of set the vibe very nicely. I guess my only other wish, I mean, it's always tough in a one shot to build enough ruin to get to the reduction roll point, without just like straight up forcing a lot of rolls. So I'm not sure that there's a good way around that other than to say, like, all right, time to roll a bunch just because. But maybe, I don't know. That's not necessarily a specific wish, but just a thought of maybe there's some way in the middle there to really like turn the screw around ring 2 or 3. But they were already very dramatic, so I don't know.
Stars to everyone. I love the titles that you guys picked, the details and the devil and the and making that a Where's Waldo kind of book, or thinking about it as a Where's Waldo, and the Last Dance of Beverly Thomas. I thought those were both very evocative horror themed book titles. Um, yeah, I love the Eleanor and Valerian, very scary NPCs there. Uh, I Ben, I love the the scene with Corey and the screaming trees and the manuscript, and while that was creepy. And I love that you had a character that was a cop that was a former criminal who was also an occultist. Uh, I'm very yeah, I thought that was very cool. Um, I love Kirk. I love the whole Marcy storyline. Uh, and seeing her at the end and shooting her because you I just yeah, I thought that was great. And I love the term librarian chic. Uh, made me laugh. And of course the endings were both great. Um, and yeah, Adriana's epilogue kind of prompted me to come up with mine, because it was so evocative. Um, and Mads, thank you for for running this, especially being sick. And I really appreciate it. You created a great feeling. And I know I said it earlier, like, I didn't like Trophy Dark, but it's that doomed aspect, I think, that always gets, that makes me hesitate. But you made me feel very safe in this. It's safe to be scared, uh, which is awesome, and I really appreciate that. So thank you.
You are also very welcome, and it is my pleasure because, again, it's as much as I like the bleak, the tragic, just the vibe of it's doom, this is the shit that's gonna happen. You ain't gonna survive. Everybody's got a different interpretation for it, and I love it when you can parlay it into something where it's, you don't have to die. It could be something where you're lost, right? So, I mean, how are you forever changed? That is the key. I mean, like, and you could have survived, but again, like, how did the darkness shape you? Being touched by it, like, how does it still follow you around? How are you still keeping it in your heart? That kind of thing. So I really enjoy this game. I didn't realize how much I was going to enjoy it until the first time I actually got to play it. If you ever want to watch that, go to Jason Cordova's channel, watch Flocculent Cathedral. Anyway, I mean, again, I've been impressed ever since, and I enjoy this game so much. So, check out the Trophy Dark core books. Check out like all the there's so many third-party incursions, just like this one, that are available on itch pages or Drive Through RPG. And then just like, just check them out. I mean, like, and the funny thing is, it's like when you read through the incursions, such varying differences in levels in writing, like whether it could be really descriptive or just really, whatever. Like, I mean, I have my incursion, which I am totally glad. I mean, Ben played it, so I mean, like, whatever. But if you look at the different ways people write these incursions, it's interesting to see like what is included and what could come from the GM's imagination just from what you say as players. So every table's different. It's canon for that particular period of time, which I enjoy. Maybe one wish would be if I was going to run this and not in a convention play, I would try to let it breathe a little bit more by having like a two-shot. And then allow the characters to role play more, really like dig deep into the rings, as well as, like Ben mentioned Corey having the whole cult background, and I'm like, I wish I had the time to really touch upon it, but I don't. So we just have to kind of blast through it. Sorry. But I mean, if it was a two-shot, yeah, we would totally be breathing on this stuff for sure. And like really see these characters, for who they are in the background and their backstory. So, yeah. I mean, this was so good. I mean, if you'll allow me, I would love to post this on my channel. Not this week, but probably eventually. So, yeah. If that's great, just let me know. And oh my God, so much fun, guys. I mean, thank you so much. I live for games. I'm sorry. I mean, like, even being sick, I'm just like, oh, this is so good. Thank you. Give me life. So, all right. I wish you happy gaming for anything that you're doing for the rest of the week. Hopefully we get to game together soon. I'll be putting up more one-shots, no worries. I mean, there's going to be more one-shots or two-shots where I'm testing my game or, other incursions. And yeah, if you're able to do it, please drop in and play some Trophy. All right? So thank you guys so much. Have a great night, great week, and I'll see you soon, hopefully.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks.